Hey everybody, hope you are doing all right. So recently there's been I don't know, the government did something about acknowledging UFO sightings, and there seems to have been a increased frequency and people witnessing UFOs, which I think is very interesting. And ever since I went on I guess you could call it my first real spiritual mission to Arizona, I started seeing stuff in the skies. It was very organic. Like it was like the way they moved in the skies. It was a lot like it always reminds me of fish swimming in the sea. It was just very much, except they were able to propel themselves, when they want to, at very very quick speeds. That's a little different because fish can't just like all of a sudden just jet from one point to another point. But these objects in the sky that I've been seeing now for 4 or 5 years, pretty much whenever I look up into the night sky, they're there too. It's very interesting. They look just like stars, but just the more I look, like if I spend like 15, 30 seconds looking at it, I'll know it's not a star because it'll start to move. Just usually very slow, just like this, and then it might do some little things like this, and then sometimes it'll go this way or that way, but they'll be moving. Um, it's very curious. And so to see or to hear about the government, acknowledging the existence of all these UFOs, is very interesting. And to see other people talking about it too, I find to be interesting. And there was one particular, video I saw from some. I didn't watch the video, but I saw the title of it, and it was essentially asking why, benevolent ETs aren't helping out humanity, or I think they are. It's just, as far the way the video was titled, the person seemed like they were asking, like, why aren't they here now? Combating the malevolent ETs, which I do believe to a certain extent are, a part of the problem here. But again, I think there was a deal made between humans, a certain, small group of humans, and these malevolent ETs for technology and various other things. But from my perspective, if I was a benevolent extraterrestrial looking down on humanity, watching everything play out the way that it's playing out right now, you it's like there's so much evidence for what's going on behind the scenes, or not even behind the scenes anymore. It's right in front of our faces. Like, it's relatively common sense that things are extremely corrupt, that there's a lot of bullshit going around all over the place. And the solution, I mean, is very simple again. It's just, you have a wicked system of doing things. So, I mean, you can choose to continue with that system, or you can choose to change the system. It's that simple. And I think one of the reasons why we're not seeing more, quote unquote, help or assistance from the benevolent ETs is because, the majority of humanity is continuing to go along with this malignant system, where essentially we haven't gotten to that point yet. We haven't really learned the lesson. We're not even at that learning curve to where it's like, oh, okay, this is what we need to do. So it's like, again, it would be just like being saved, but it's an enabling thing. Like, if they were to come down here and take out these evil ETs, I mean, that's the thing that has got, I think, a lot of people twisted up, is that we are allowing all of this to happen. We are perpetuating this evilness. We are giving power to these malevolent extraterrestrials. It's not them. They don't have that much power without us. We are made in the image of God. I've heard from, sources that I find to be pretty credible, we're actually genetic royalty. Like, a lot of extraterrestrials look at human beings as genetic royalty because we have so many different aspects of different extraterrestrials in our DNA. So, the range of good and evil, of love and hate that we're able to experience in our, lifetimes as humans is extremely unique and very powerful, both in a good way and a bad way. So, it's again, so that's another reason. It's like they're looking at us, like, and we're screaming for help, but they're like, you guys need to learn how to help yourselves. You guys don't know how powerful you are. You need to reclaim your power. You need to stop doing these same things we know isn't working in a good way. And all of them, there's been so many messengers from Jesus, Yahushua, from Muhammad, the Buddha. I mean, there's just been so many messengers. There's so much information out there that talks about love, that talks about hate, that talks about evilness, that talks about creating a harmonious government or way of living for everybody. That we know about plants. I mean, there's information is out there. The information has been out there for a while, and people are still just not really hearing it. They're not really applying it to their lives in a very profound way. And the next step in this, I mean, when I say next step, I think to really apply it again, it goes like what I was just talking about, just brainstorming. It starts with us just talking together, developing the space for that to even exist, to really start to come up with real, tangible solutions to these problems that we have. Acknowledging that we're, in a world where there is, I do believe, like a one world government, a new world order, a large collection of secret systems, or not even, I don't even know how large, I don't know what the amount of the numbers of people involved are, but there is a global, planetary, collective of evil people that are conspiring against humanity and our demise and the majority of life on planet Earth. And so, this has been going on for some time now, and we're starting to see things escalate to a more, dire, degree, because that's just the time. It's just the time of the season right now. But again, we are allowing all this to happen, man. These people don't have any power without none. I mean, I say don't have any, but they do have power. But we're giving them so much power by paying them so much attention. So it goes back on us. Like, from an extraterrestrial perspective, if they were to just come down here and take these people out and do all these things, and then the rest of humanity would be like, oh, okay, well, that thank you for doing that, but we wouldn't have really learned the lesson. We wouldn't have applied the work to change things. We would be relying on others to come and save ourselves, thereby essentially failing the test of good and evil, which is why I think the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, you go into all of that. Like, it is for us to learn about being responsible with good and evil. But how can you learn about that, really learn about that, and really pass that test if you have to have somebody if you have to have somebody else come in and complete that test for you? It'd be like you having somebody else finish your homework assignment. Like, there's a reason why all of this is happening, and we need to take more responsibility and also acknowledge how much more power we really have and how much we're giving away, how much we're, I don't really believe in any waste, but there's more efficient ways of doing things. And to know that we're living in a very inefficient society is key to, and acknowledging that is key to change. Just like being a drug addict or any type of person with any type of problem, if you don't acknowledge the problem exists, how can you even deal with the problem? So I think, I think that's possibly a reason why, why we're not going to see more, intimate involvement from extraterrestrials of the benevolent type, is because we're just not at that level of perception awareness. We haven't really reached that point of real acknowledgement of what's really going on and what it's really going to take for us to get over these things. Because if we're still harboring the perception of wanting to serve just ourselves and wanting to just, go after jobs that aren't really, satisfying our soul or helping our soul grow in a good way, then we're not learning the lesson. We're not completing the test. We're not, stepping up to the next stage of human evolution, or, learning about the responsibilities of good and evil. We're still continuing to perpetuate a doctrine and a way of thinking and seeing the world and behaving that is from a malignant source. So, and because we've already had tons of messengers throughout the eons, it's like the message is there. Like, the information we need is there. The knowledge of the hemp plant, of all these things, have been there for a long time, So it's not like it's a lack of information that's, the problem. It's a lack of application. So we need to start applying the things that we know work, and, at least experimenting with ways to put them into real good use. And until we start doing that in a different type of way, in a massive type scale, I don't think it would be good or even proper, or in proper alignment with, again, it would be enabling. I think if they were to come down here and solve everything like this and that, they would be essentially kind of, taking away what we need to learn from this whole experience here. So they can't do it. Is what I'm kind of feeling, and that's what I felt for a while, is that these extraterrestrials just can't come and save the day like that. It's not that simple. We have to take ownership of our own actions. We have to take responsibility for our own, deeds that we've done, and start planting new seeds. Stop feeding the toxic needs and start feeding the good needs. And then, perhaps, once we get to a different level, like once we get a real movement going that is independent from this malignant one, then perhaps, we will get, maybe some assistance or some help. But we got to at least step forward in a different way. We got to stop just talking about it and complaining about it. We got to stop letting our perceptual barriers and our fears and our doubts and, petty reasons get in the way of coming together and really coming up with a real, tangible, and good solution. Because that's what's happening right now. There's so many people here in America with a good amount of money, and the solutions are all there. There's enough good people, I believe, too. But again, as long as we're all separated, as long as we're all living our isolated little lives and not really trying to reach out and connect to people, and this is something that I need to apply more to my life too, because I have problems with socialization as well. But I know that it's a part of the process that's needed in order for things to heal and myself to heal too. And I know I'm also, when I'm in a social environment, like it's a good thing, man. I love working with a team. I do, especially if that team is aligned with something that I find to be good for us and for everybody. But it's really just simple shit like that, in my opinion, that we need to start working on and really applying in a serious manner, just a higher level of application than what we have been doing, and stop making excuses and stop talking about the same shit that's been talked about for eons now, and start applying what we already know works. Love is the answer, God is the answer, following his will, exposing evil, and stop, giving it so much attention. It's just simple shit like that that I think needs to be done in order for humanity to grow. And then, once we start doing that, then perhaps these, other benevolent ETs that are up there, been looking, that I've witnessed myself, because when I do look at these things I see in the sky, I feel a benevolence. I don't feel malevolence. I feel something good up there. I feel something inspiring. I feel something that's radiating hope. And this is how I do think they are helping us. I do think that they are helping to, radiate positivity and love and hope and goodness and even healing energies. So they are helping, but they're just not going to come down here and solve everything for us like we're a bunch of kids who can't figure shit out, because that's not who we are. We are very, 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 very unique and intelligent creatures on this planet with a lot more power than we've been told. And it's time for us to really start fucking believing in ourselves and do something for ourselves and stop whining and complaining and asking for help from somewhere else. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the whole extraterrestrial situation. I've always been, interested, ever since a child, into ETs and UFOs and the X-Files and just science fiction. So I'll probably be speaking more on this subject because I want to, and also because it seems to be relevant in today's what's going on with the now. So, all right, y'all. I love you guys. Y'all take care. All right. Bye.